When threats emerge in the universe. When conquerors approach and the danger is high. When you have to face powerful rulers who want nothing less than complete control of the universe. Then you have to come together and work as a team. You have to dig deep, find your resolve and your courage. You have to understand your enemies and how to stand against them. You have to be bold, decisive, and brave. And you have to be ready to be part of the universe's most legendary defender. Then, when the universe needs you, you can form Voltron, the greatest hope of the universe. Coming to a role-playing game made by Catalyst Game Labs, publisher of acclaimed games including Shadowrun and Cosmic Patrol. Catalyst brings an all-new rule system that emphasizes the teamwork at the heart of Voltron, and also allows for awesome displays of power from the universe's greatest defender. Whether you want to play in the original Defender of the Universe setting or the newer Legendary Defender series, the core book will be available for your preferences, help you explore a galaxy full of adventure. While the core game focuses on the paladins who join together to form Voltron, you can play other characters as Notes, Cadets, or members of the Blade of Mamora, spinning out galaxy-spanning stories that encounter all manner of planets, creatures, and possible threats. The dice core system, used in Voltron, the role-playing game, is easy to learn and use while providing great depth of play. As you roll a pool of 3 dice determined by your skills and attributes, your decisions and circumstances can make those dice better or worse, so what you choose can have an instant impact. Back now and join the fight to defend the universe.
Hey guys, welcome to a solo Tuesday Newsday. It's been a heck of a day here. Bear with me as well. I'm getting notification on Streamlabs that we're skipping frames, and so high CPU usage, so lower my encoder settings. Not heavy on CPU in it. Hotel internet. Like, this is great. So let me just open my settings real quick and see if there's anything I can do to help this quickly. There's the bitrate. It's been a while since I've had to do this kind of adjustment, so I don't remember where it is. But anyway, let me know if it's bad and maybe I'll break and go find it real quick. But in the meantime, hi everyone. I'll stop distracting myself with technology. Yeah, so it's been a heck of a day. I was up at 5 a.m. to get to fly to Gamehole Con because setup starts tomorrow. And I specifically took a early flight so that I could be here and do this with you guys because it's been a couple weeks. I had Kevin J. Anderson lined up, and then he wasn't able to make it again. So we're looking at next week. I tried to get Matt on, who's our art director for RPGs, so we could talk about Voltron. He wasn't available. He's in the middle of a move. And then I asked Ross Jepson, who's our sales manager, and he was in, but thought it was for next week, so he had to back out too at the last minute. So I was like, you know what? I made the effort to get here. I want to be here with you guys, so I'm just going to do an AMA, and we can talk about whatever. I'll answer anything that I can. So if you want to ask anything, and if I don't know the answer, I'll say that. I did close all of my apps. Usually I'll ask on the fly, like to get some answers. I'm just not going to do that today because I'm on one screen and internet is already mad at me. So, um, yeah, we're going to do a little bit of an AMA. In the meantime, you can ask, by the way, about, I'm a little out of it because I'm tired. You can ask about me, you can ask about marketing, you can ask about my company, you can ask about any of the lines for Catalyst. So that's battletech, shadowrun, leviathans, RPG division, including Voltron and Frostpunk. Any of the events we go to, the board game division, anything you want to talk about, I'll try to get you an answer. Any of the behind the scenes on how certain things work. If you want to know about how Kickstarters work or how any of our back end stuff works, happy to talk about it as much as I can. I think just to give you an update on everything, we've got the Voltron RPG. We're getting quite a bit of following on BackerKit, which we're excited about. There's a new announcement, if you haven't seen it, where there's going to be a live action Voltron series coming to Amazon, I believe, starring Henry Cavill. So that's pretty exciting for us. It's a great time. We were going to launch on October 8th for the Kickstarter, but we are waiting on some last minute assets from NBC Universal to approve. So we will launch as soon as, once we get word from them that everything is approved, then we'll probably set the date for like 2 weeks out and then launch from there. So we'll let you know as soon as we can. So, all right. So that was RPG news. Frostpunk is still set for February. It's going to be a busy Kickstarter year next year. I can't talk about everything yet because we do our big announcements at PAX Unplugged, which is the first week of December in Philadelphia. So we'll be doing announcements there. We'll be doing a live stream there throughout the weekend to announce things. We're going to have a stage presence where we do some announcements. So it's going to be kind of exciting. It went really well last year. The streaming people, you guys seemed to love that last year. So we're going to do that again. All right, so that was RPGs. So board games, coming up for board games next year, we have Flippin' Ninja. This was announced last year, but everything was kind of put on hold with Mercenaries sucking the air out of the room. So Flippin' Ninja is coming next year. We've got a couple other big board games. The one that has been announced so far is Runefire. That is the new skin for, if you remember Shadowrun Crossfire and Dragonfire with D&D, this is the Pathfinder skin. So we're working with Paizo on this. So this was announced earlier this year. The Kickstarter is going to launch in January. Another board game thing, it is and isn't Catalyst, and I've talked about this the past couple weeks, and this is the reason we're going to have Kevin J. Anderson on the show, is, if you don't know, he's a prolific sci-fi writer, and he is he's the current writer, one half of the writing team for Dune. I'm getting a call right now, I think, from John Helfers. He's going to have to wait. So, what was I talking about? It's, again, forgive me for being a little distracted. It's been a long day already. So I was talking about Runefire. Oh, Kevin J. Anderson. So he is one half of the writing team for Dune ever since Frank Herbert died. It's Herbert's son and Kevin J. Anderson that writes for all the Dune novels. And he's a script consultant and things like that. He's written for the X-Files. He's written for Star Wars. He's done a ton. So he is launching, he crowdfunds his Dan Shamble Zombie PI comedic series through Kickstarter. And this is his third or fourth coming Kickstarter for Dan Shamble books. And he wanted to offer the backers something new. So he is partnering with Catalyst on doing a board game. Or it's going to be a card game that is swappable. Long term, with the generic name is Storybook Battles. I'm not sure if that's going to be the final name. But basically, it's 12 characters on each side, and then you have your Dan Shamble team fighting his bad guys. And then if you want to, like if we were to do a Voltron one down the line or something like that, you could have the Dan Shamble people fight the Voltron bad guys and stuff like that. So it's going to be exchangeable, which is pretty fun. So he's launching that on Kickstarter. I think it's October 29th is when it's launching. So you can look up Kevin J. Anderson on Kickstarter. Again, I'm going to try not to type too much since I'm the only one on and can't buy myself time. But check that out on Kickstarter. That's coming soon. So that's another board game thing. I think those are all the board games I'm allowed to talk about at this point. Leviathans, I'm looking to get a backer update. I know Tyler's been working on it. I was out last week, so he might already have more information than I do. Bryn and Randall are in Australia after PAX Australia, and Randall is continuing his tour, his Reunification World Tour in Australia, so they should be back by the end of the month, and then we plan to check in. Is everything still on track and everything? So that was Leviathans. Then we go into Shadowrun. So 35th anniversary of Shadowrun, and I'm here at GameholeCon, and I'm excited. It's an RPG focused con, so there's going to be a big Shadowrun presence and showing for the 35th anniversary. I think actually here I can't get to the photo quickly on my computer, but Alex Kammer is the gamer and one of the owners of GameholeCon, and he just did a post because we did the stair graphics and it looks so cool. So he just sent this to me like an hour ago because they're doing pre-setup today. So let's see, where did he post it? Maybe he posted it in the Gamehole group. I'll pull that up real quick and see if I can show you on my phone. There it is. All right, so let me make sure, get the Streamlabs up so I can see what I'm showing you and make sure it's in frame. So that's the Larry Elmore stair art. We did something similar at Gen Con, and then we're going to line the stairs with LED strips at the top of the stairs. So we are even going to be in the vendor hall. Our booth is going to be at the top of those stairs, and we're going to have some neon lights. I'm pretty excited. I'm testing this out. I ordered hologram fans. So we're going to have one that is a graphic for the Shadowrun logo, one for Voltron, and one for Frostpunk. And we'll be doing demos right up there at the top of the stairs of each of those games. And then in the main demo area, there will be the full CDT, Catalyst Demo Team games, so you can play for 2 to 4 hours. We're also bringing RJ Thomas, who is the new Shadowrun line developer, as a special guest. So you can actually join in and play a game with the line developer of Shadowrun. Jason Hardy will be here as well. He is the former Shadowrun line developer and the RPG director now. And he is going to be running some Voltron and Frostpunk up in the booth area. And then we're also going to have World of Shadows, the 6 Sides of Gaming stream that I did with the Linvander Studios and 6 Sides of Gaming folks. We're doing a one-shot. We've been doing one-shots at each of the cons we go to, so we'll be doing a one-shot of that with the cast, so I'm pretty excited. And Shadowrun Munchkin is also going to be here. Steve Jackson Games is here, and so Shadowrun Munchkin is going to be here. There are a couple of battletech grinders, and I think there's someone that's not demo team that's running like 2nd edition Shadowrun or something like that. So if I have time, I might check that out because I've gotten to play one game of 1st edition, so I got to catch them all. So we'll see if I can get that going. So it's been a great year for Shadowrun, and that 35th anniversary, and then for BattleTech. So in terms of a backer update, there should be one coming in today. I sent it to, once I got to the hotel, I sent a draft to QML and to Tyler to kind of look at and approve. There's not much news. I think it's pretty much that shipping of Wave 2 for domestic, Canada, and rest of world is still ongoing. And again, rest of world is defined as the world that doesn't have hubs nearby that fill them. So like Israel and Ukraine and well maybe anyway. So we have one in Asia, we have one in Australia, we have one in UK, and one in EU. So those are the ones that have hubs. Everywhere else, like South America and stuff, is considered rest of world. So those are still ongoing. There are one or two shipments, I think, this week that are still, because this was the week that manufacturing was supposed to be finished, or last week was supposed to be finished. I think there's one or two that are just finishing up this week and getting shipped out. But in opposition to that, I did hear from Mike Ritchie, who's doing like kind of coordinating where everything's going. From the manufacturers to the hubs. The first shipments should be arriving to the hubs within the next couple days. I guess the tracking says that it should be showing up any day now for the first shipment or two. So it's starting, and then we should be waiting probably for those orders 4 to 5 weeks, and that is my non-logistical caveat here is I am not in logistics. I literally Google search like how long does it take to ship from US to Australia or from China to Europe and things like that. So so that's kind of where we are. But there's some big things. If you are not going to PAX Unplugged, definitely tune into the live stream because there's some big things coming for BattleTech next year. So I'm excited to share that with everyone and get things going. So, all right. So let's see here. I'm going to go through chat and we're going to just do an AMA since it's just me for this week. Like I said, feel free to put questions on the chat. I will, anything that I can comment on, I will. If I skip any, that's why. Let's see here. Vision Time. Can we get an explanation as to why international backers are coming behind retailers in Merck's Kickstarter? You are not. So basically, the US, Canada, and rest of world is in wave 2. We are still holding all retailer orders. Then for US, Canada, rest of world, and international hubs, as soon as that stock arrives, that will finish fulfillment and then retail will go. The only thing that is not going to qualify for that's going to be waiting. I don't even know if it's going to be waiting until the end if there's not overlap. Because there's processes that go into this and it's super complicated. But wave 3, so wave 1, I'm going to get my dates wrong on this. So it was sometime in May that was due for wave 1 segments. Those were sent to QML. And that's wave 1. So that includes whole world, even the international hubs. International hubs that haven't started shipping still have the wave 1 orders. Like as soon as that goes, that goes. Wave 2 was from that May date until August 12th, I want to say. And so QML, that's what's being fulfilled now, except for retail and any items that are shorted, or any orders that have items that are shorted. Then wave 3 is going to be anything from August onward. Now right now there's less than 1,000 of those backers that like have filled out their surveys late or whatever the case may be. Those ones because they waited until August, those ones will not qualify for any of the exclusive. Like if there's a retailer in there that didn't fill out their survey yet, we're not going to hold all retailer items or hold for once the retailers are done and exclusivity period ends and stuff. We're not going to hold up any of that for wave 3. So that's the only difference, I believe. So I hope that clears that up. So international backers are not coming behind retailers. Retailers will all distribute at the same time when wave 1 and wave 2 backers are complete once the shortages arrive. Wargriz, is Leviathan still on track to ship? Like I said, the last I heard, yes. I'm not sure at this point, so hang tight on that, and we'll get an answer soon for you. I look for question marks, so I see Lorcan asking if Augustin had a good time at Essen. uh, Yay, Australia last night. Great to meet Randall. That's so great, Zafir. Glad to hear it. And it would be nice referring to the said. So EU, UK, Australia, and China are part of Wave 1. So everyone that completed their backer survey and their shipping by that May date that I can't remember is part of Wave 1. But Wave 1 in those areas is just being held until all the product gets there, since there were the 20 items that were short. So it's still part of Wave 1. It's just that Wave 1 in those areas has not started. Let's see. Whee! Excuse me. I just clicked on something. All right. Let's see. Just gotta find the next one. Question from Lorcan. Can we get confirmation that the Mr. Johnson pledge level for Shadowrun Takedown includes all 20 plastic minis? I'll have to double check with Tyler. I know Tyler, we just had a meeting with Board Game Division. And I'm pretty positive, but he knows the details way better than I do. So I'm going to just shoot him a message through my phone and see if I can get that answer for you, Lorcan. Is Mr. Johnson's briefcase including 20 minis? We'll see if he responds. He might also be here in chat. You never know. All right, let's see. Will the pink Irby, this is from ROTST Targe. Will the pink Irby hoodies be coming to the web store? They will be. I think the original holdup was that we were having some issues getting some products to show on the web store. And then I know Talon was also at PAX Australia and stuff, so I will make a note to follow up with him because there's a couple other items that need to be added to the web store too. Irby hoodies. Those are a fundraiser for an organization supported by the Colemans. I can't remember which organization it is at the moment, so I'll have to get clarity on that. But it is a fundraiser in honor of Connor Coleman, who passed away this January. Let's see. Ryan Hansen, any updates on Aces? Yes, but not until PAX Unplugged. So check in at PAX Unplugged. We've got some really exciting news for you coming for next year. Let's see. Cardboard cutouts of Randall rather than cloning. I love it. Yeah, I'm glad Dave mentioned this. Glad that some of the folks in Australia got to meet Randall. Me too. We see you. We want to be part of it. We want to be part of Australia. We know that there's a big fan base for both Shadowrun and BattleTech there, and we want to support that. Logistically, it's hard. It's very expensive to do that, so I know I'll be interested when they get back. We always do a retrospective of how things went, so I'll be interested to see how that goes and what info they have. So, yep, I'm at Gamehole Con. It is cold here today, but it's a really pretty city. I get to come here twice a year for ACD and Gamehole. And I love the Twin Lakes. A friend of ours who is a demo agent, a Shadowrun demo agent, lives on one of the lakes and has a boat. So we usually get to go out it's too cold this weekend probably, but We usually get to go out and I've never seen pelicans in real life before, so that was really cool last year. All right, let's see. Mad Cat. Will there be a source book on the Free Razzlehague Republic? I don't know about that one. It's not on my product schedule, which is my Bible. I can, if you guys want me to, just put yay in the chat or something. Say I don't know. Confirm if you want me to pull up the product schedule and go over that. I've done that in the past on streams, but things are always moving, so I'm happy to do that. Crazy Slane, did Voltron get pushed back? I talked about that a little bit earlier. We're just waiting on some approvals from NBC Universal, and then we'll set the launch to 2 weeks after we get those approvals. Do we have a release date for McCarran's Armored Cavalry at Barnes & Noble? So it was supposed to be this month, Bovi, but the ship hasn't arrived at the warehouse yet. So right now it's being knocked to November, and as soon as we get word that it's in stock, we'll get it updated. The best place to watch for those releases is going to be probably the newsletter. We post as much as possible on socials and stuff, but there's a lot there at all times. So the newsletter we only send out once a month, and it's going to have occasionally there's going to be some surprises that we don't get to cover in the newsletter, but it's going to have here's what came out in the previous month and here's what's coming out in the next month. So that's going to be the best place to see those announcements, unless it's a last minute thing. Like right now, I'm planning for McCarran's to drop in November, pending that ship. But there's a chance, like if it arrives today, PSI has a release date for that's available on October 30th, and maybe they push it to come out then, and that's a surprise for me. And it'll still end up on the newsletter as coming out this past month, but so that's your best place to watch for it. Norbert, how is Succession War board game for BattleTech going? It has not been forgotten. It is part of our conversation of what we want to do, hopefully, for this next year. But all of those decisions are still being made, and PAX Unplugged is going to be the best place to get an update on that one. Tell Helfers we need a reprint of TRO 3150. I'm not sure Helfers is in charge of those. It might be Ray or Aaron. Needs reprint. But I wrote it down, so I'll send all my notes to everyone after the call. Thank you. Florian asks, do I like the MechWarrior 5 Clans launch trailer? I have not seen it yet, actually. Hey, Jaskell, if you're listening, can you forward it to me so that I can watch it? Journey into Happiness, have you missed the BattleTech Kickstarter update? Pretty much things are shipping. A couple of things are set to arrive already, and a couple of things are shipping this week. So we're pretty much almost done at the manufacturer, making up a number 90% done at the manufacturers, and then the final shipments should be sent off here shortly, and then we're just waiting for worldwide shipping. Second, oop, it just jumped. Why'd you jump? My chat just jumped. There we go. Mahi Mahi second edition is basically first edition without the glaring loopholes. Good to know. I mean, I want to try them all, right? Like I like Shadowrun. I want to be familiar and be able to talk on it. People ask me what my favorite edition is, and I started with 5th. So it's like my choices are 5th and 6th. So I do have opinions. If you want to know, I'll share. If I'm in wave 2 and have no shorted items, why am I waiting on my Kickstarter? So they did a good thing to do, first of all, is to email QML on their customer service thing, and ask like if there's a holdup with an item or something like that. They did the address verifications. I'm not sure if they do those in segments or not. I'm not sure what the QML process is, if they're still getting some of those from people, or if they're just like sending all of the entire wave out, and then for address verifications, and then getting them in. I'm not sure what their process is. Your best bet is to message them and ask. Oh, the update is live now. Yay! Oops, someone asked about all 10 miniatures. Oh, hey. Tyler is double checking on the minis that come with the briefcase. So he wants to make sure that he doesn't misquote anything. So stay tuned. Definitely submit it next week and I'll harass him for it. Wave 2, Melwinius is wave 1 and has not gotten anything yet. At this point, my understanding is if you have not gotten email confirmation or address verification or anything like that, that you have missing items. So if you want to know what they are, feel free to reach out to QML. Otherwise, as soon as those short-stocked shipments arrive, then they'll start fulfilling those. Black trench coat or pink mohawk? Both, please. You plan black trench coat, and then as soon as something goes wrong, your team panics and goes pink mohawk. Like that's Shadowrun. Mirror shades, I think, is the mixture between the two. So mirror shades. Pink trench coat. I like that. Question from Lorcan. Have I tried a battle mech other than the Widowmaker yet? Yes. I've also done the Atlas, the Rifleman, the Archer. I now have a King Crab that was painted up for me and a Know the Cat. But I mean, the dice sheet's just so much fun. There's so many little pips to fill in. So love it. Peace all. I'm doing well. Thank you very much. McCarran's Cavalry we answered. Ergend, I'm going to touch on this. I might get in trouble, but hey, come at me. What are the 20 items that are short in non-US hubs? I don't know. I don't have that list. I do know that officially saying anything about what is missing on a Kickstarter page that has 25,000 backers means that QML drowns in questions about what's missing, and we cannot make 7,000 order changes because someone's like, oh, just leave that off, or instead of this dice, send me this dice, or whatever it might be. So that is part of the holdup of communicating what those are. Just the 20 items are ordered, and they will be there soon, and you will get them soon. Bear, any news on correcting the international non-US postage for the web store? So this is ongoing to the point where it was actually brought up in our director's call today we have every Tuesday. There are conversations being had with distributors worldwide. None of those contracts are signed, which means there's not really anything we can talk about. It has gotten more complicated because of that, for Europe anyway. An example of one of the complications is privacy. So my understanding of this piece of it is that if you come to our website and buy internationally through a distributor that offers that better pricing and we are integrated with them, my understanding is that there's then like 22 different reports for all of the distribution in all the countries and stuff that have to be run each month, and sent to file VAT and import taxes, customs, everything like that to those governments, which is really cumbersome and awful, especially for small companies. An alternative to that is to, my understanding, again, I'm not logistics, so this is just my understanding, and I could be dead wrong on this. But my understanding is that the other thing would be like if you were to go to our website, choose, say, if you're in Europe, click here, go to the distributor's website, order from them. But then there's like, they have access to that customer base that is technically our customer, and there's like some privacy weird stuff with that too. So that's just one example of the complications that comes with trying to find the best integration solution and a way that all of this works. And so it's been slow going. And again, I really want to iterate, this is one example of a lot of nuance and complication. So it's just the most recent one I heard of, which is why I talked about it. So we are talking to partners. We are trying to find a solution that works for everyone. It's just not easy. So, and with our warehouse partner, like there is no alternative to where we are right now. We have to find a different solution. We know that, we want to prioritize that, but we also want to do it right. And it's gone slower than any of us would like. So, I appreciate the question, and that's the update. What else here? Yay, thanks for liking the 40th anniversary Battletech dice. I'm going to rub it into Lauren's face again, because I always do. Let's see. Oops. It keeps jumping. Like, as I scroll sometimes, it jumps down a whole bunch, and then I have to find where I was. Ozzy Sturm asks, while at PAX, I was able to see some of the attendees give Randall some gifts. Could there be an interview or Tuesday Newsday of the stash that Randall got from his world tour? I'd love that. I think that's a great idea. Once this year ends, so maybe early next year, we could do something. That way he's home, he's situated, and he can prepare to have his dragon hoard of treasure nearby. But that way, like, we can see everything, because his tour isn't done yet. So I really like that idea. Thank you. Dave, where does one sign up for the newsletter? If you go to catalystgamelabs.com and scroll to the bottom where like the about stuff is, you'll see enter your email here, and that's the best way to sign up. Spectre asks, updates on the retail grinder kits. We talked about that today a little bit too. So there's two parts of this. So there's 1,000 kits were printed. 900 are going to, like, there's 100 that Randall wanted pulled aside for whatever Randall's going to do marketing-wise with that. But the 900 are going to go into distributors, go to distributors. Some distributors that are high-selling Battletech, so like I know Alliance is doing this. If you do a lot of sales for Battletech at your game store, you'll just get one, and you can talk to your sales rep to see if you're on that list. If you're not, or you just want to get started with Battletech at your store, you can order a certain SKU kit, and it's going to come with some basic SKUs for you to sell, and a grinder kit for you. So those are going to go to like Peach State Distribution, Peach Hobby, and I don't remember the name, Universal in Canada, ACD, Alliance, there might be one more, but those are going to go there, and retailers are going to get those. There has been question brought up, and it's not a for sure yet, but what about, because people have been asking, what about a grinder kit that's available to, like, for customers? To purchase. So it's something we're open to, and are going to look into what that could possibly look like, and what the cost would be for, because I know like there's 32 minis in the, I think 32, 36 maybe, in the grinder kit for retailers, and so that's going to be a big That's going to be a big um, purchase expense that we don't usually do. Any chance we can see a picture or mock-up of the Arano coin that's blocking some of the Kickstarter pledges? I don't have it. I don't have the artwork for it, but we can ask. Put that on the list. Thanks, Dayball. Question, Rem. Jaskell, thank you. Rem, am I able to remove any items from my Kickstarter so it will ship faster, aside from the Arano coin, of course? No! Please do not email QML 7,000 emails asking if one item can be removed. We cannot do that. Question. JOK, what lessons learned have you /CGL already taken from the Mercs Kickstarter communication, which was arguably pretty bad at times and is now improving a lot? So, here's the thing. Something that I've learned in my time doing Catalyst Kickstarters. I started with Edge Zone. And my goal was always like full transparency. Like that was what I wanted to do. What I realized quickly is that if you give too much transparency, then you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So if you start to give too much information, then people are holding you to that kind of stuff. And there's always something that goes wrong with a Kickstarter. Always something that goes wrong with a Kickstarter. So it could be shorted copies, a box fell off the boat, some are damaged, and we have to do a reorder because we didn't have enough. It could be any number of things. Every single Kickstarter I've worked on, and my company does Kickstarter work separate from Catalyst, so I've worked on a lot of Kickstarters now. There's always something that goes wrong. And so when you commit to something in writing, that's what people are going to remember. And so when you communicate too much, people get mad. There are people where, like, you can see in any of the comments on backer updates and stuff like that, some people are like, tell me no news is good news. And other people are like, don't tell me that. Don't waste time emailing, like my time emailing me with. So there's people that want different things from out of communication for every single Kickstarter. And this one being so massive, it's just it's a lot. And we've tried to do the regular updates. Sometimes we don't have the information. Sometimes, like, I didn't go to the QML meetings until recently because I wanted to try to give you guys more. I've been writing the past few, but I have to get sign off from everyone that goes to those meetings because, again, there's certain things where it's like I said earlier, a reason that we don't want to over communicate is those 20 items that are different for every single hub. First of all, it's going to get confusing. Second of all, like, that means 7,000 people emailing QML asking to swap items or refund items or whatever else, and that's just not manageable as a practice. So it's just, you're damned no matter what. I actually, one of the things that I started doing was writing the backer update, getting the approvals, and then also running it past the Discord mods. Jaskell has been a great advocate for, like, trying to get questions answered, and he'll push on stuff and say, like, hey, can we get an answer for X? And either the answer from the team up the chain is no for some of these reasons, or, like, again, it's what problems are we causing by answering some of these questions. I mean, we still, I know, get complaints about the vehicle salvage boxes and how to communicate that you got 2 vehicles or something like that, and it's been in the backer updates, and we still get slammed for that. So it's a balance, and it's a hard balance. So I'm trying now with some of the backer updates to give helpful information without giving everything that's going to cause additional problems. I did scold Lauren today because one of the things that was frustrating about this Kickstarter too is I'm being pretty transparent with you guys. Again, I've been up. It's almost going to be it's more than 12 hours now since I got up at 5 a.m. So I'm a little out of it and probably oversharing. But one of the challenges. So the team, because most of the Mercenaries Kickstarter items were already like figured out, like we knew we were going to do these force packs, and we only added in like I think Somerset and one or two more that like were 3/4 done anyway. So much was already done for this, but we expected a $4 million Kickstarter, and we got all said and done. I don't think we quite hit 12 on backer kit. Um, but that is a huge lift. And before we launch on Kickstarter, we have to say what our expected fulfillment timeline is. So now all of a sudden we have 3 times the maximum product we expected to now order and have manufactured, which these manufacturers all have schedules. So they schedule a certain amount of work, and then all of a sudden we have to triple that work. And how do they squeeze all of that in? But then everything that can go wrong. We had a good intention of this is another piece. I actually advocated really hard for including all of the add-ons that we did during the Kickstarter, especially with international shipping through our store being what it is. I was like, this is an opportunity where for the rest of the world internationally, if they can't get access to stuff, we're going to give them access to stuff where they can ship it with their Kickstarter product. Like it was good intentions, but 400 SKUs has caused us, yeah, we're short 20 items, which is 5% of SKUs or something like that. I think less because I think we're over 400. But we've had some issues with these. Things happen. A certain, I can say with the Arano coin, a different coin, 300 copies or 3,000 copies or something like that were made of another coin that was supposed to be 30, and the Arano coins, only 30 got printed. So those two numbers got swapped by whoever. And like that happens, and now there's been a huge issue with Arano coins. So like there's a million things that can go wrong through us, through manufacturers, through distribution, through shipping companies. There's a million things that can go wrong, and we've had a lot of those. It's been a challenge, but again, with when it comes back to communication, I'll get off my soapbox after this. When it comes back to communication, we had all of this planning done, and we had to put in June, but the team itself was so hopeful that we could get all this out sooner, without taking into account everything else. So like, I know Lauren got on a Tuesday Newsday once, and I scolded him today actually, and he was talking about like, oh, fulfillment's going to be done by July or August or something. He said something, and I'm like, God damn it, Lauren, don't say these things because you just don't know. And then today he's like, well, why don't you haven't you had me on Tuesday Newsday? And I'm like, because you make my job hard when I have you on Tuesday Newsday, Lauren. And he's like, that's fair. So again, it's just controlling the messaging, and it's really hard to do. I know it sounds like excuses, and it is, but it's not simple. Every time something new comes up, we're looking at hundreds, if not thousands, of messages on Kickstarter through BackerKit, through customer support, through QML, and it's a massive undertaking. So, yeah, we're learning all the time. I feel like I'm communicating as much as I'm able. I mean, you can still tell by comments places that people are still mad that they're not getting enough. But we're communicating what we're allowed to and doing the best we can. Thanks for asking. 117 Aster. Oh, Somerset Strikers pack coming out soon. No, I think that's one of the later ones coming out next year. But again, if people want me to, I'll open up the thing. it jumped again, so I'm trying to find where I was. Sorry, guys. Peace all. Are demo tech or the battletech demo tech grinder kits just for demo agents? Or can a store get them normally for their purposes of teaching people at the store? They're for stores. Yes, agents will be able to get them because we want them going and doing them at their stores. But the entire thing was designed for stores. 117 Aster. Hi, Rem. Will CGL be doing any tie-ins with MechWarrior 5 clans? I know Randall mentioned before there won't be a tie-in novel, but what about a scenario pack like Turning Points? I don't know. I'll ask tie-ins with MechWarrior 5. John is going to be here with me, and in terms of fiction, he's the master of those questions, so I can ask him while we're here. Let's see. Are there plans to digitize some of the older sourcebooks, spotlights, campaigns for Battletech? I'm not sure. I haven't heard of anything, but that's a good question that I can ask Ray when I go to the weekly. Digitize older sourcebooks, etc. Question, when will the 40th anniversary dice tray become available? I've been pestering Talon about it. I'm not sure. I think it's one of the ones that got caught up having trouble getting on the web store, and now I'm harassing him weekly to get it up there because I'm proud of it. So soon, keep watching. Soon, join the newsletter. Let's see. All the way at the bottom. Turbo Turtle, I volunteer to be an emergency guest when you have no one else. Yeah, I'd love to have you on. I have no problem with that. I honestly today I did one. Usually, if I have a cancellation, I scramble until I find someone, or I force one of the directors to come on with me. I just didn't have the energy for it today. So I tried one like really cool one, which I'm going to save as a surprise for when I can get him at a different time. But I thought you guys would get a kick out of that one. But I could have Big Red on too. I could harass him to come visit us. I need to make like a list of people that I can poke. I also really I have an interview show on Gen Con TV weekly, and I have like 8 months worth of guests scheduled, and I just haven't done it for the show. I need a producer. Will the Arano coin be available on the store later? I think everything should be, but I really don't know for sure. I'm not sure. Let's see. Thanks, Aster. Appreciate it. And the thing is, we know this. It's a loud minority that gets upset. Like, and it's justified. Like, you have every right to be frustrated. We are too. But when you look at, again, 26,000 people, and you look at, the number of unhappy comments and the number of repeat commenters and stuff like that, it's okay. We're doing okay, and we'll be okay, and everyone will have their plastic and be happy. Any idea on release date for the audiobooks for the Kickstarter for download? And am I voicing any of them? For the Kickstarter, so So I'm just thinking of wording because it's complex. So my company runs the Shadowrun audiobooks. things went really fast for a while until I got hired full-time by Catalyst and lost my soul. And then now everything's slow. I did just hire someone to help me manage the process. And so like they're in training and things should get like we have some that are basically ready for release. There's one where the credits like need to be in mono instead of stereo and then they're ready for upload. Then there was a different company that was doing battletech and they've got a bunch underway already and I'm not sure which ones or how many. But we are going to be ending our service with them and that's going to be coming under my branch too. So my new manager, like once she has the shadowrun system going, she's going to have the battletech system going. I don't know. I think, I've done narration on a couple of the shadowrun ones. And I'd like to do battletech. You may not know this. I'll share something personal about me. So my degree was in theater, film acting, and voice. And so I sing and I also do dialect work. So I would love to get into more practice with like doing a Russian for Natasha Kerensky or something like that since I love my Widowmaker. That would be a lot of fun, but I don't know. Honestly, like there's a trilogy that I'm supposed to do for Shadowrun and I haven't had time in years. So my hope is to get some things situated and then make the time to record that trilogy. But I would hate to commit to doing more without having delivered on the ones that I'm supposed to do. But thanks for asking. Let's see. Always more Reese's. And it just jumped again. Thanks. Thanks, thing. UK Games Expo, yay! Aster, I like your Lauren comment. You're not far off. I don't know what it is. Like I try to be pretty I consider myself a pretty nice and friendly person. I sass the heck out of Lauren. And for whatever reason, I've talked to Heather actually, who, for those that don't know, Heather Coleman is actually the owner of the company. And she's like, you really give him hell. And I'm like, that's the only way he listens. And she's like, he appreciates it because he gets a lot of yes people. And so people giving him honest feedback. And so there are things that happen that like I don't agree with and I'll still do the message and stuff like that. It's his company and I'll do that. But he's damn well going to hear about that I don't like it. Mark Tassin, did I miss news on store credit for the shipping charges? I think we did a backer update about that. Let me message Tyler again because I can't remember where that one is. I know that he worked on a huge set of them with Talon. But if there's still outstanding ones, let me double check. Store credit for shipping charges news? Question mark. He's already typing. He's listening. Hi, Tyler. One of the things too that part of the reason that Wave 3 is not going to be included in the exclusivity period. Not only are they super late and we don't want to make other people wait on them, but also like there's the whole process we had at the beginning where it's like, here's the quoted shipping charges. Then we do our formula on how to help them out on shipping charges, just like we did for everyone else. Like how much is Catalyst willing to cover? And then like if people are still having trouble with it, let's do the stipend and go back and like we want everyone to have the same opportunities as the people at the beginning did, and that all takes time. So we'll make it right for them. They're going to get their stuff, and we're going to save them as much money as we can, but it's going to take time. Let's see. Um, are there plans for demo kits for Leviathans, the Great War? Not yet. I'll be interested in what the next plans are for Leviathans. I know that the big push right now is just getting it out there. We want to get the fulfillment done. We want to get backers playing. We want to be able to support more events at our conventions and stuff like that. So we're working on it, but I would like to see more growth and support for the future of Leviathans as well. And it is, just so you know too, with Catalyst's extra divisions now, so we have the board game division, we have the RPG division, we have Battletech, Shadowrun, and Leviathans. So whenever we get a new IP, we're taking we're really trying to put a lot of thought and strategy into which division does it belong in, or is it a Catalyst Prime product? Leviathans is still Catalyst Prime. So that to me says that it's something we're invested in the future of. Kurt. I don't mind going long. I'm having fun. Kurt. Oh, I lost it. How did the Target sales end up going? They did good. So at first I heard that they did really freaking good. And then I heard they did good. And now I know that they've got stuff on clearance, so we're discussing what the strategy should be on wider release for Essentials. I know that we ended up doing a second printing, thinking it was going that well, and I don't know where the numbers, I wasn't part of the conversation. But I know we have a lot of inventory now that we want to get out. But we also have the 40th anniversary stuff, and we have a beginner product, and when is the right time? I'm personally pushing for sooner rather than later, but we have a meeting coming up to plan for that. Rem, do you think most of the outstanding Kickstarters in North America will be resolved before the end of the year? Honestly, yes. As of right now. And my lack of knowledge for logistics. So take this with a grain of salt. When I did my research, it said 4 to 5 weeks maybe for shipping. So even if the last of our orders does ship this week, I'm going to pull up my little corner calendar. So it's the 15th. So let's say the 18th, it's the end of the week. If it takes 6 weeks for shipping, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the end of November, and that still gives us a month for shipping. Yes, it's the holidays and stuff like that. North America. There's 2 questions here. I personally think that because the quantities of shipments in those international hubs are not as high, US, Canada, and rest of world is 20,500 orders. I think Australia is 3,000 or something, and Europe altogether is 6,000 or something. And they're all separate hubs that are working on this. I think it's feasible to be by end of year. But that's with my limited knowledge. So something else could go wrong. As we've discussed, there's a lot of things that could always happen that always surprise us. So, but I do think that I do think that I want to say we're at, for wave 2, I think there's 17,000 out of those 20,000 orders that are something like that are not missing items. So that's 3,000 orders potentially missing items, plus the retailers are in there if the total is the 20,000. So I think it's doable, but it just depends on when those shipments arrive, and I don't know. That's my guess at this point. I think it's doable, but I could be dead wrong. Were scenario books going to be reprinted Grey Death Legion? I wrote down about digitizing older books. but I haven't heard anything about reprints. This is something, I don't know. I think across the industry, this isn't just a Catalyst thing. Like, and this is my own, I've only been in the industry for a year and a half now, and then doing Kickstarters and stuff, but like, and I'm not a designer, I'm not a writer, and there's a whole lot of people that have been doing this a hell of a lot longer than me, but like, I don't see like, if people love first edition Shadowrun, why not support that? Like, if we have the files, I know for like that was Facet Days and we don't have the files, but like if it's something like 5th edition, if people love 5th edition, why not still sell it? Just order less or make it print on demand or something. It's just my philosophy or thoughts, but hell, I'm just me. When will we have an interview with someone from CSO? That's a good question. CSO interview. Honestly, I feel guilty because there's so many people that are involved. There's every artist, there's the painters, there's the fiction writers, the source book writers. There's so many people that are involved in these processes, and like even at Gen Con, there were a couple people that I didn't get time to interview, or to have on for interviews, to schedule interviews because my team did them. So those are the ones that you see dropping on Sundays now, are the Gen Con interviews. And there's just so many people and only so much time. So I try to schedule these as relevantly as possible. Like if there's a new release for, like I've been trying to get Matt here on, who's the art director for RPGs, so that he could talk about Voltron because it's relevant right now. So I try to be relevant, but sometimes like we're releasing things faster than I can get people on for, and that's hard. Big Red, why would I want to ruin the stream with your presence? We have a fun story, guys. I've honestly contemplated pushing Red out of a moving vehicle at Adepticon. Let's see. It jumped again. I was about to read a question. Oh my goodness. I thought we were getting to the end. The scrolly bar is lying to me. Okay, there's one of the ones I asked. CSO, I asked. Big Red, I made fun of. Flanman, any plans of expanding merchandise into like figurines or model kits? We are open to so much right now. Like the battletech renaissance is amazing. And so there's no promises on anything, but there's a million conversations that we have. Part of why I travel so much and is I take meetings. And I'm looking for a ton of marketing opportunities and partnerships and stuff like that. Randall and I were at San Diego Comic-Con and we talked to Weta, and like how cool would it be to have Weta figurines and stuff like that. So and little statuettes and stuff, and like it's Weta, so if you don't know Weta, they're like the prosthetics and the a lot of the props and stuff behind Lord of the Rings. Like it'd be cool to work with them. But again, like that's just one possibility. We have a million conversations and there's a whole bunch of things we'd like to do, but then we have to figure out like what's the best partnerships and what's going to help us, what's going to help other people, what's going to promote the line with crossovers. Like doing Munchkin as a partnership was a great, like Munchkin is like Catan almost. It's a good gateway game into being gaming beyond like Risk and Monopoly and Sorry and stuff like that. So like that's a great way to get Shadowrun in front of a bunch of gamers, and get them to like the world. So there's like options for partnerships of that too. Like I know Savage Worlds would love to work with us. So there's a whole bunch of things that could happen. But Core Hammer, you can come on and help produce. So one of the things that, because I have too many jobs at Catalyst, so I do marketing, I do the trade shows, I do content, and I do community. Um, there is so much I want to do for content. Like, I've talked to John about doing like a fiction reading show where we have the authors or a narrator or something come on and like at least read the beginning chapters of something to get you into it, and talk about the writing process and stuff like that. I want to do actual plays of all of our games. I want to, like, there's so much that we could be doing for content, but I need producers. I'm just one person, so like I need someone to do the work and then just have me look at it and go, "Yep, looks great, do it." So if people want to help and do stuff, we're also building a sponsorship and affiliate program for content creators. Oh, the Sprawl Ops expansions aren't on backer kit for takedown. Sprawl. Hey Tyler, are you listening? For takedown. I wrote it down. I'll message him. It's a good. If it's not there, it should be. Let's see. Jack L, has there been any updates on how weather has affected QML? Hardly. There's been a lot of worry about like the hurricanes and stuff. QML, I think they said they were closed for like a day, and then reopened right away. So they were lucky in how they got hit. But and then the workers' strike, I think, was only 2 days for the dock workers and stuff like that. So we've been pretty lucky. Now some of those ships that are making their way across the world, I don't know. But Survivalist Tim, will the missing Kickstarter item list be made public? Not if it does, not until after the the shipments all arrive. I talked about that earlier though, so you should go back and watch. Is Tex still doing or slated for the Blood of Kerensky audiobooks? I'll have to ask. I don't know since we haven't taken them on yet. And I hadn't heard that he was doing it. But that, like, John doesn't need to run everything by me that wasn't involving me. So I don't know. ETA for Australia, and is it covered by the exclusivity? Yes, covered by exclusivity. ETA, again, it's just hard to say. Part of why is that some of these items are coming from the US, some are coming from China, some are coming from Europe. So, like, it's like, I don't know. But from my very, very rough Google search that I did, I'm expecting 4 to 5 weeks for things to arrive. I talked about Leviathan's Kickstarter already. Look at you guys. You guys are answering questions for me. Yay! See you at GameholeCon. Please, please come say hello. Survivalist Tim, talking about international distribution. I talked about that earlier in the stream, so feel free to go back and watch. Oop, it just jumped again. Adds rum to cloning. Yes, please. Shirtless Alaric shirt. That's funny. I don't know. We've done funny stuff periodically, so I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but it jumped again. But I think I was getting to the end, and we're 15 minutes over, so I'll let like 2 more minutes for entering any questions, and then we'll wrap it up here. Content creators, where do I sign up? You can email me at rem@catalystgamelabs.com, and that'll at least, I can it's going to take a bit because I need the capacity. I just am getting newsletters spun up and running. And I just recently took over sell sheets, which means actually being able to communicate release dates and get them advertised on all of the platforms and stuff like that. So I've been trying to organize that as best I can and figuring all that out. So like that's my big project right now outside of the day-to-day stuff. And then once I've solved that and fixed that, then I don't know if you can tell, I come from operations more than marketing. So uh, let's see. All right. The last questions here. Why did I want to push Red out of a car? Um, oh, yay! First of all, Big Red has an interview tonight with Chris Lowry, the narrative director for MechWarrior 5. That is pretty damn cool. So go follow Big Red's channel and give that a watch tonight. Pushing Red out of a car. Red, what I learned meeting Red is that you cannot say one sentence when Red is in the mood to fuck with you. You cannot say one sentence without Red just antagonizing everything you say. And I was fed up, so I was like, I'm going to push you out of this car. While we were on our Walmart trip, I think. Is there a reason that Force Manual Davian is not yet available on DriveThruRPG? I'm not sure why. It should be. DTRPG. I'm not sure who does that, so I'll have to track that down. FM Davian. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me for an hour and 15. I was a little nervous about doing this and like, what am I going to talk about for an hour and 15 minutes? An hour anyway. But next week I should be home, so I will try to have. I think next week I'm going to have Kevin J. Anderson on. We're really pushing for it. I need to have the Voltron folks on. So that's going to be the next couple that I've planned. I want to get Ross on because he's like one of the only people on the director's team that hasn't been on yet, I think. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys. So, thank you so much for tuning in, and I think I'm going to go take a nap. So, I appreciate you all. Have a good one. I'm still here because I have one screen and everything is slow. Okay, bye!